Card King, here I come. Hello, music fans, music collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I am your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com. Your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning, and I believe I'm going to have a guest calling in right about now. So we can begin. We'll await his phone call. We have scheduled vocalist for Metal Church, Ronny Munroe. And for those listening to the program, you can take a look at Ronny Munroe's website, which is Ronny, RONNY, Munroe, MUNROE.com, and really view his biography, vocalist for Trans-Siberian Orchestra as well, performer for about 40 years, acclaimed musician, so he's supposed to be calling in any minute. I welcome to the program acclaimed musician, most noted as the lead vocalist of Metal Church during the early to mid-2000s, along with Between the Worlds, One Machine, and Monroe's Thunder. I welcome in Ronny Munroe. Ronny, Brian C., thanks for being here.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if you were going to call in. I have like 15 minutes, so, I can start. It's been noted, Ronny, that you decided to become a singer after hearing a song performed by the legendary metal frontman Ronnie James Dio. Is that how it actually worked out?
Yeah, that is correct. Among other singers from that day. But, it was Dio when I heard Man on the Silver Mountain. I was practicing my drums and heard that voice and was like, wow. Called the radio station, and they told me who it was, and from then on, I was a fan.
So now in your mid-teens, you were in a band playing drums. I believe the band's name was Madhouse, which by 1980 morphed into Moxie, and you yourself transitioned from drummer to singer. Was that your main goal, your main ambition was to be a singer, a vocalist?
Well, no, actually, I first started, first instrument was saxophone, but didn't interest me. It lasted about 3 months, and then I needed something to beat on and make noise, so that's why I guess I started drums. And so, I studied drums, studied music, entered a couple competitions here and there, and kind of fully figured on possibly becoming a concert, percussionist or something in that field. But, the singer bug bit me, and that's how I got started. Never looked back.
Now, you were part of that pool of talent, Ronny, in the Seattle area in the 1990s. With who and where did you make your first professional appearance with which band?
Well, the upper echelon would have to be Metal Church because, I spent probably 20 years doing cover bands, tribute bands. I pretty much did it all. And then I met Kurt Vanderhoof in early 2003, I believe it was. And we actually discussed his solo band, Vanderhoof, and then we went ahead and just started to do Metal Church. So Metal Church was my first stepping stone to the upper echelon.
So you had an eye on Metal Church, right? You were pursuing them for a couple of weeks until you got that call from Vanderhoof, right?
Well, I wasn't pursuing them until actually I met Kurt at one of his solo gigs, and we talked for a few minutes, and he was looking for a singer. And, of course, I was a fan of the band. I had that first cassette tape. I used to drive around and sing God's Wrath at the top of my lungs until I wore the tape out. And, always thought that in my mind, I'm thinking, that would be so awesome to be able to sing for them or sing for a band like that. And 20-plus years later, I met Kurt, and the rest is history. He hired me to do I did 4 records, and, we'll see what happens in the future. But, that's how I got in there.
So you were there for, a good 10 years or so, recorded a lot of hits, a lot of albums, right?
I don't know about any hits, but we did 4 records, because we had broken up in 2009. We got back together, I believe it was 2013, to do 70,000 Tons of Metal Cruise, which was awesome. And then we decided to go ahead and stay together and do another record, which was Generation Nothing. And then after that, that's when things, changed, and I decided to leave the band, and they got Mike back, and that's it.
Now, talk about your experience with TSO, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. How was that for you? How did you get ushered into that group?
Well, I got to say that's the best gig I've ever had. They treat you right. Well, yeah, I mean, they really treat you well. And plus, when you're walking out to sing to a sold-out Coliseum almost every night or day, I mean, that's pretty cool. And so I got a phone call from a friend, a mutual acquaintance, that said they were looking for somebody to do the song Old City Bar, which was Paul O'Neill's. I think that was Paul's favorite and his baby, because it's like 10 minutes long. And so I auditioned. I bought a flip share, I think it was, and started doing videotapes and videos, that is, and sending them in. And finally they called and said we'd like to fly it out to Tampa, Florida. And I got there, and I started working with John Oliva, much to my surprise. I love John, and Paul. And after, I don't know, I think it was like 7-8 days I was there, they finally sent me home and then called me a week later and said, "So you want the gig?" And I said, "Of course." And that's how it happened.
I mean, that must have been so special for you, because, I read a statistic that TSO has been ranked as one of the top 25 ticket-selling bands in the first decade of the millennium. So, that's really a highlight in your career.
Oh, heck, yeah. I mean, that was, like I said, that was the best gig that I've ever had. And we'll see what happens in the future. But, there's a lot of people that have tried out that did not make it. And so I feel very blessed, very humbled, and, just very proud that they chose me to go ahead and be with the troupe for a couple tours.
We're talking with the powerhouse vocalist, Ronny Munroe, who's with us this morning. Now, Ronny, you go onto your website, RonnyMunroe.com, and I see your most current work, Between Worlds. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Between Worlds is a project that was put together by myself and Alessandro Del Vecchio. Alessandro is that guy's he does everything. He's a great singer, keyboard player, plays drums, guitar, and he's producing and engineering and writing for a lot of the Frontiers bands. The guy's all over the place, and he contacted me and asked me if I'd like to do a project. Said he'd always wanted to work with me, so I said, yeah, let's do it. And that's how it happened. And then I brought on board a few special guests to do some guitar solos, and that's how that happened. And I think the album did pretty well. And we're going to see in the future if we actually do another one.
Now, I have a little excerpt that I took that I want to play, and then we could talk about it. Let's hear it now. There it is, Between the World. Talk about, originally it was formed in 2019. The song was made in 2019, but it was released about 7 months ago, right, Ronny?
Yeah. It came out September 10th, I believe.
All right. How was the work putting that together? Any production issues, or did it go smooth?
No, everything went really smooth, man. Working with Alessandro was a smooth and easy thing, as well as everybody that was involved. So yeah, there were no hang-ups. I mean, there might have been a couple delays, but that's, COVID and all the stuff that's been going nuts here in the world. But other than that, no, it was very smooth.
And for the listening audience, where can they pick up that new release?
The new release is on Frontiers Records. So you can go to Frontiers Records SRL. You can go on my Facebook. You can go on Amazon. And there's also links on my site to pick that up.
And I got a few minutes left, Ronny. I wanted to ask you some questions about singing.
Yeah.
How you've been in the business now for a long time. What's the biggest change that you've seen today compared to when you first started?
As far as singing goes, or just the music industry?
Music industry, and then as far as singing goes.
Well, I mean, there's always somebody trying to do something different as far as singing goes, I guess, but there's not a lot much more that you can do. I mean, there's a lot of singers now that are doing the combination, the Cookie Monster stuff is what I call it, the gravel stuff, and then they'll sing smooth and things like that. So that wasn't going on back in the day. That's really the only difference I see within singing. I mean, there's a lot of great talent out there. There's a lot of young singers now. Dino Jalusic being one of them. I mean, he's in Whitesnake now. He's going to help Dave Coverdale out. And Dino's got a great voice. That Eric Gronwall, who just took over at Skid Row. I guess that guy was a Swedish American Idol guy or whatever. No, Swedish Idol. And now he's fronting Skid Row. And there's a lot of up-and-coming talent. So I'm digging that. And then as far as the music industry, it's, it is what it is. We all know that downloading is really hurt. But then again, it's been a few years now, and you start to embrace the internet because you have social media, and it's almost like you need to use that. So, you still have the older musicians, a lot of them that just stay away from it, and they want to be mysterious. But, that's kind of over now. So I embrace social media, when I can, and I have friends that also help me out with that. So that's what I see the change in, and, I just hope that the fans keep buying the music, because that's what keeps us going.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no question. For the youngsters listening to the program, Ronny, what's the number one skill would you say they need to learn to help their career grow? The number one skill, as far as being a vocalist.
Okay, as far as being a vocalist, well, practice. You need to take care of yourself. Vocal cords are strands of muscle. They're fibers. And so basically you need to sleep. You don't want to be partying too much. You kind of get left out on that, which is a good thing anyway. No one needs to party a lot anyway. But as a singer, you've got to take care of yourself. So you need to get your rest. You need to eat properly. Do your exercises. A lot of singers don't warm up. I used to warm up, but now pretty much the switch is always on, and that will happen after time. But yeah, you need to practice, and you need to take care of yourself. So that's really it.
And you being a professional performer, I mean, there's periods where you're away for a long time traveling, so that can actually hurt the body if you don't take care of yourself, right?
Exactly. And we have a term, well, at least I do, I call it zombie sleep when you're on a bus, because I'm a light sleeper, so that's always been a battle for me. I got to put earplugs in, a sleep mask, and maybe even headphones. But yeah, you do need to rest, and sometimes that's not possible depending on things happen on the road. You get a breakdown or, flat tire or whatever, but you got to roll with the punches. But I'll just say this, if you're overdoing it on the partying, drinking, doing drugs, all that kind of stuff, it's going to catch up with you. And the older you get, it catches up with you even quicker. So that's just not good. You know, you need, and plus, you know, you don't need to be messed up when you're out there performing because people pay to come and see you. So that's the last thing. And there's phones. You know, everybody's videotaping things. So you don't want to look like a dick either. You know, being all drunk and drugged out on stage and all that. So I suggest that you stay away from all that heavily. And just take care of yourself. Love the music. That's what you need to do, not the partying side.
That's definitely for sure. I got 2 minutes left. I want to ask you, give us a few words on Between Worlds, One Machine, and Munroe's Thunder.
Well, I'm just staying alive, trying to survive within the music business because I love music. I started out at 1 year old beating on pots and pans with spoons. I've got a couple photos that my mom took of that, actually, and I never wanted to be anything else. I always wanted to be a professional musician / rock star, professional musician first. And my dream came true. Took me 20 years, but I made it. I got there. So, you know, that's what I'm doing. I'll always do music in one shape or the other. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and you're one of those compared to the masses that have been blessed doing what you love to do for a living, Ronny.
I really am. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not driving a Ferrari or Lamborghini, and which I probably wouldn't want that anyway. I'd probably get a new pickup. But anyway, you know, I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to things like that. But yeah, I just you got to keep going.
And I got 1 minute left. I also want to get this in. I mean, you were honored with Mexico's Mortal Festen Award given for your contributions to metal music, you know, in its history. So there's a great acknowledgement for you, huh?
Well, yeah, and I was actually quite surprised by that, but they did say something about the helping resurrect metal church at the time. So I was like, who am I to turn that down? I mean, it was an honor. Plus, they put a band together for me over there, and they flew me out, and, you know, it was awesome, actually. You know, I got to meet a lot of new people and, you know, jam some of the metal church songs on stage in this big warehouse. And they gave me a makeshift thing. They put an album, an LP in a frame for me and with a little plaque and stuff. And, yeah, that was really cool, actually. I had forgotten about that. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, it's a big honor. Well, listen, you know, I'm out of time. I wish we had a little bit more time, but I appreciate you calling in.
Oh, of course, man. And my apologies for being a little bit late. But, you know, let's do this again sometime, and I'll make sure that we get our full time in.
You got it, Ronny. The website is RonnyMunroe.com. Thanks a lot, Ronny. Until next week, happy collecting to all.